Imagine this. You're 16 years old. Your world is dying. Water has vanished, food is gone. And somewhere in the darkness, a monster with 7-inch fangs is hunting your family. This isn't fiction. This isn't a movie. This happened 50,000 years ago to real people just like you. Watch a teenager named Kale face impossible choices, leave everything behind or watch his tribe starve. Fight a saber-toothed cat or let it destroy everyone he loves. Lead his people through hell or surrender to certain death. You'll discover survival secrets that kept humans alive when the world collapsed. You'll learn how they fought predators that could crush bones with their jaws. You'll see how they built societies, managed conflicts, and created the foundation of human civilization. But most importantly, you'll understand why their courage, their intelligence, and their refusal to give up lives on in your DNA today. In the next few minutes, you'll witness the most incredible survival story ever told. A story of 30 desperate souls who refused to let humanity die. This is their legacy. This is your heritage. This is why you're alive today. If you're ready to discover the warrior spirit that lives inside you, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Because what you're about to see will awaken something powerful within you that you never knew existed. The story begins now. What you're about to see happened 50,000 years ago, but the terror was real. A 16-year-old boy named Kale. A world collapsing around 30 desperate souls. And creatures that would make your worst nightmares seem like fairy tales. The sun was a relentless hammer beating down on the African savanna. This wasn't just drought. This was the earth dying. Rivers that once thundered with life were now cracked clay beds stretching to the horizon. The great herds of wildebeest and zebra had vanished, leaving behind only bleached bones and the memory of abundance. Kale's tribe numbered 30 souls, bound by blood and the shared understanding that every day might be their last. At their head was Baru the elder, whose weathered face told the story of 60 seasons. His eyes held knowledge that could mean the difference between life and death. Which plants were poison, which animal tracks meant danger, which clouds promised rain that would never come. But knowledge wasn't enough anymore. The land was turning against them.
Hold steady now.
We will get through this.
You are brave.
Ngicela nihloniphe abantu abadala ngoba yibo abanamava okusinda.
Survival wasn't luck, it was science. Every member of the tribe was a specialist in staying alive. The women were the backbone of survival. Led by Kale's mother Mara, they were living encyclopedias of edible plants. Their hands could identify over 200 different roots, berries, and tubers by touch alone. They knew that the bright red berries of the thorn bush would kill you in minutes, while the bitter roots beneath could sustain you for days. They carried digging sticks made from hardened wood and woven baskets that could hold water for hours. When they found the rare baobab tree, they knew every part was valuable. The fruit provided vitamin C, the leaves could be eaten like spinach, and the bark could be pounded into fiber for rope. Nothing was wasted. Even the seeds were cracked open for the oil inside. The men were hunters, but not like you imagine. They didn't chase animals, they became them. Rand taught Kale to think like prey. Where would a gazelle go for water? What would scare a warthog from its burrow? Which way would wounded prey run? Their tools were masterpieces of survival engineering. Stone hand axes weren't just sharp rocks. They were precision instruments. The napping process to create them took years to master. One wrong strike could shatter hours of work. Fire-hardened spears weren't just pointed sticks. They were balanced weapons where the weight distribution could mean the difference between a clean kill and a wounded, dangerous animal. The savannah wasn't empty. It was ruled by killers. Hyenas were perhaps their most dangerous enemy. Not because they were the strongest, but because they were smart. A lone hyena was a scavenger. A pack of hyenas was a coordinated killing machine. They hunted in groups of 20 or more using complex strategies. Some would circle prey while others drove it toward waiting jaws. Their bite force could crush bone and they would eat their prey alive, starting with the softest parts. Kale had seen what hyenas could do. 3 seasons ago, they had surrounded old Tekka while he gathered honey. The tribe found only scattered bones and the memory of his screams carried on the wind. Lions were kings, but predictable kings. They hunted mainly at dawn and dusk. They were ambush predators who relied on surprise. The tribe learned to avoid watering holes during hunting hours and to sleep in elevated positions where lions couldn't easily climb. But it was the smaller predators that killed most humans. Leopards were ghost killers, silent, fast, and absolutely ruthless. They could climb any tree, swim any river, and strike without warning. A leopard could drag a full-grown human up a tree, and there was nothing anyone could do to stop it. Wild dogs were the marathon killers. They would chase prey for miles, taking turns to keep the hunt fresh while their target exhausted itself. Once they locked onto a scent, they never gave up. Then there were the reptiles. Crocodiles ruled every water source. They could remain motionless for hours, looking like logs, then explode into action with jaws that could snap a human in half. The tribe learned to approach water sources in groups with spears ready and escape routes planned. Rock pythons were silent stranglers, 20 feet of pure muscle that could squeeze the life from a man in minutes. They hid in caves, in trees, even buried in sand. Kale's cousin had been taken by one while gathering eggs. They found his body 3 days later, being slowly digested, but the deadliest enemies were often the smallest ones. Snakes were everywhere, and many meant instant death. The black mamba could kill in 20 minutes. The puff adder was nearly invisible and struck faster than the eye could follow.
It hides very well.
The spitting cobra could blind you from 6 feet away, then finish you while you clawed at your burning eyes. The tribe had developed an entire medicine system around snake bites. When someone was bitten, seconds mattered. First, they would cut the wound deep with a flint blade, letting the blood flow to wash out what poison they could. Then came the sucking, taking turns to draw poison from the wound and spitting it out immediately. But the real medicine was in the plants. Old Baru knew that certain tree barks, when chewed and applied to wounds, could slow poison. The root of the white sage plant, when boiled and drunk, could counteract some venoms. But the most powerful medicine was the blood of animals that had survived snake bites. They would carefully collect and dry this blood, then mix it with water for the most serious cases. Sometimes it worked. Often it didn't. Kale had watched his uncle die from a puff adder bite, his body convulsing as the poison shut down his organs one by one. It took 2 days. 2 days of agony that nothing could stop. Scorpions were equally dangerous. Their stings caused paralysis that started in the limbs and worked toward the heart.
Watch out, the rocks are alive.
The tribe learned to check every crevice before reaching in, to shake out their sleeping furs every morning, and to never walk barefoot at night. Spider bites were treated with fire. They would heat a stone until it was red hot, then press it against the bite to burn out the venom. The screams could be heard across the savannah, but it was better than the slow death that spider poison brought. When Baru announced they had to leave, it wasn't just a journey. It was a calculated gamble with death. The tribe packed with military precision. Every ounce mattered when you might walk for weeks. They took their most essential tools wrapped in animal hide to prevent noise. Water was stored in large gourds sealed with tree sap. Dried meat was packed in strips that would last for days without spoiling. But the most important things they carried were invisible: knowledge and strategy. They moved like a military unit. Scouts went ahead to check for predators and find the safest route. The main group traveled in a tight formation with the strongest fighters on the outside and the most vulnerable in the center. Rear guards watched for followers, both animal and human. They walked during the coolest parts of the day, rested during the killing heat of noon, and traveled again in the evening. At night, they slept in shifts with fires arranged in a circle to keep predators at bay. The journey was a masterclass in survival psychology. When children cried from thirst, the adults would tell stories to distract them. When the elderly struggled to keep up, the young would share their water and carry extra weight. When fear threatened to break their resolve, Baru would remind them of the green land waiting ahead. But nature tested them at every turn. Sandstorms hit without warning, turning day into night. The tribe would huddle together, covering their faces with cloth and breathing through their hands. Some storms lasted for days and they would emerge half-buried, their water supplies contaminated with grit. Flash floods were equally deadly. During rare rainstorms, dry riverbeds would become raging torrents in minutes. The tribe learned to read the sky and seek high ground at the first sign of distant clouds. They had seen entire families swept away by walls of water that appeared from nowhere. Heat exhaustion claimed the weak. When someone stopped sweating, it meant death was hours away. The tribe would create shade with their own bodies, share precious water, and sometimes make the hardest decision of all: to leave someone behind rather than let the entire group die trying to save them. Wild animal encounters were constant. Not all animals wanted to kill them. Some were just defending territory. The trick was knowing which was which. Elephants were unpredictable giants. A bull elephant in must could trample the entire tribe without breaking stride, but elephants also led them to water. The tribe learned to follow elephant trails from a safe distance, knowing they always led to water sources. Buffalo were living tanks with bad tempers. A buffalo herd could stampede at any moment, turning hundreds of tons of muscle and horn into an avalanche of death. But buffalo also meant lions weren't far away because lions followed the herds. Hippos killed more humans than any other large animal. They looked slow and harmless in the water, but on land they could run 30 miles per hour and their jaws could snap a canoe in half. The tribe learned to give hippo pools a wide berth and never to get between a hippo and the water. When they found the muddy waterhole, it should have been salvation. Instead, it became a lesson in the food chain. The tribe's approach to the water was tactical perfection. Scouts checked the area first, looking for tracks, scat, and other signs of dangerous animals. They identified escape routes and positioning for the strongest fighters. Only then did the main group approach. But they weren't alone. The Smilodon was the ultimate predator, 12 feet long, 600 pounds of muscle and bone, with canine teeth 7 inches long. These weren't just big cats. They were specialized killers designed to hunt megafauna. Their jaw muscles were so powerful they could bite through the skull of a giant ground sloth. When it appeared, every survival instinct the tribe had developed kicked in. Don't run. That triggers the chase response. Don't make eye contact. That's a challenge. Move slowly and keep the group together. Show respect but not submission. Rand's gesture with the lowered spear was brilliant psychology. He was communicating that they weren't a threat but also weren't defenseless. The Smilodon, like most predators, was a calculator. Was this meal worth the potential injury? 30 humans with spears could hurt even a saber-toothed cat. The beast made its calculation and moved on, but now they knew they were being hunted. The next weeks were a masterclass in psychological survival. Knowing an apex predator was tracking them changed everything. Sleep became strategic. They slept in shifts, with guards positioned to watch all approaches. Fires were kept burning all night, not just for warmth, but because even saber-toothed cats respected fire. The flames had to be hot enough to create a real barrier, but not so bright as to blind the guards or attract other predators. Their daily routine became a ballet of survival. When they moved, scouts ranged far ahead and behind, looking for the telltale signs of their stalker. When they stopped to rest or eat, fighters took positions while the others worked. Every moment was calculated. They learned to read the Smilodon's hunting patterns. It was most active at dawn and dusk. It preferred to attack from elevated positions. It would follow them for days, learning their habits, waiting for the perfect moment when someone was isolated or vulnerable. The psychological pressure was enormous. Children whimpered at every shadow. Adults snapped at each other under the constant stress. But Baru held them together with stories and strategy, reminding them that their ancestors had survived worse. Chapter 9. The Promised Land. The Great River was everything they had hoped for and more. But even paradise had its dangers. The river teemed with life, which meant it also teemed with death. Crocodiles basked on every mud bank. Hippos wallowed in the shallows. The water itself was home to parasites that could blind you or eat you from the inside. But life also meant opportunity. The tribe had to completely relearn how to survive in this lush environment. Fishing required new tools and techniques. They carved bone hooks and learned which baits attracted which fish. They built fish traps from woven reeds and positioned them in the current to catch fish swimming upstream. Kale mastered the art of spearfishing, learning to compensate for the refraction of light in water.
Careful.
The abundance of plant life was overwhelming after months of scarcity.
Yes, I am.
But abundance also meant new dangers. Many river plants were toxic, and the tribe had to experiment carefully to learn which were safe. Some fruits that looked identical to ones they knew were deadly poisonous. New predators ruled this environment. River sharks could take a limb in one bite. Electric eels could stun a grown man unconscious. Giant catfish were living garbage disposals that would eat anything, including drowning humans. But they adapted, as humans always do. When the Smilodon finally came for them, it wasn't random. It was personal. The beast had tracked them for hundreds of miles, following their scent through desert and grassland. It had watched them grow confident in their new home. It had learned their routines, their weaknesses, their guard rotations. The attack came during their victory celebration when defenses were down and attention was elsewhere. This was predator intelligence at its finest, striking when the prey was distracted and vulnerable. But the tribe had also evolved. Months of survival had turned them from refugees into warriors. The battle itself was over in minutes, but those minutes contained a lifetime of courage and split-second decisions. Rand's initial spear thrust was designed to wound and anger the beast, making it commit to the attack rather than retreat. This was tactical thinking. Better to fight a wounded, angry predator than to have it stalk them for more months. Kale's thrown spear wasn't meant to kill. It was meant to divide the beast's attention and create an opening. In that moment, the 16-year-old wasn't just fighting for his life. He was thinking like a general, coordinating a battle strategy. Rand's killing blow to the beast's side targeted the exact spot where the ribs ended and the spear could penetrate to vital organs. This wasn't luck. It was anatomical knowledge passed down through generations of hunters. Epilogue. The legend lives. The Smilodon's death meant more than just the end of a threat. It was proof that humans could face their worst nightmares and emerge victorious. The tribe didn't just survive, they thrived. They developed new hunting techniques, built permanent shelters, and established trade relationships with other human groups.
Observe the wind's direction.
Kale became a legendary hunter
your
whose
ally in
techniques
the
were
hunt.
passed down for generations. But most importantly, they proved that intelligence, cooperation, and courage could overcome any natural advantage. The Smilodon was bigger, stronger, faster, and better armed.
Knowledge from our observe the wind.
But the humans were smarter.
How do we track them across
This
the
story
great
happened
Understand their
50,000
pattern,
years
where
ago,
they
but the
hunt,
lessons are eternal.
knowledge is our legacy.
When faced with impossible odds, when the world seems to be ending, when monsters lurk in every shadow, the answer isn't to give up. The answer is to fight back with everything you have. What would you have done in Kale's place? Would you have run from the Smilodon or stood your ground? Would you have had the courage to leave everything behind and journey into the unknown? These are the questions that separate survivors from victims, heroes from cowards, legends from forgotten names. The bloodline that started with Kale's tribe eventually spread across the entire planet. Every human alive today carries the genes of those 30 souls who refused to give up when the world was ending. You are their legacy. You are proof that courage wins. The answer is to fight back with everything you have. But survival wasn't just about fighting predators. It was about managing the most dangerous creature of all, humans themselves. Every tribe needed order, and order came from unbreakable laws. Baru wasn't just an elder. He was a judge, a king, and a father figure all in one. His word was absolute, but his decisions were based on generations of wisdom about what kept tribes alive. The first law was simple. The tribe comes before the individual. This wasn't just philosophy, it was mathematics. One person's selfishness could kill 30 people. When food was scarce, it was shared equally. When danger threatened, everyone fought. When someone was too injured to continue, the hardest decisions had to be made. But even wise leaders needed systems. The tribe had a council of the strongest hunters and the most experienced women. When major decisions had to be made, where to migrate, how to deal with other tribes, whether to fight or flee, this council would debate while Baru listened. But the final word was always his. Leadership wasn't inherited, it was earned. Kyle was being groomed not because he was Baru's favorite, but because he had proven himself in crisis. When the Smilodon attacked, when tough decisions needed to be made, when others panicked, Kale kept his head and thought strategically. The penalties for breaking tribal law were harsh because they had to be. Stealing food during a drought meant banishment, a death sentence. Abandoning your post during a watch meant losing your status as a full member. Challenging the elder's authority meant trial by combat, and the loser didn't always survive. But leadership also meant sacrifice. Baru ate last when food was scarce. He took the most dangerous watch shifts. He made the decisions that kept others alive, knowing that if he was wrong, he would be blamed for every death that followed. Marriage wasn't about love. It was about survival genetics and tribal alliances. The tribe practiced what we now call genetic diversity instinctively. Mating between close relatives produced weak children who died young. So complex rules governed who could pair with whom. The elders maintained mental genealogies going back generations, ensuring that bloodlines remained strong. Young women came of age around 15, marked by ceremonies that announced their availability for pairing. But this wasn't random, it was strategic. A woman's value wasn't just her beauty, but her skills. Could she identify edible plants? Was she strong enough to carry children through hard times?
We look for resilience.
Did she come from a line of survivors? Young men had to prove themselves before they could claim a mate. Kyle couldn't marry until he had made his first major kill, demonstrated his tracking skills, and shown he could provide for a family. This wasn't cruelty. It was quality control. Weak men produced weak children, and weak children died. The pairing ceremony was the tribe's most important celebration.
May
The couple
spirits
would drink
bless our
fermented
union.
fruit juice that represented the joining of their spirits. They would exchange tools. He would give her a knife he had crafted. She would give him a water gourd she had made. These weren't just
Marriage
gifts.
creates
They were
political
proof of their
resource
skills.
alliances.
But marriage was also politics. When two families joined, their resources were shared. Their knowledge was combined. Their children would carry the best of both bloodlines. Marriage created the networks that held the tribe together. Divorce existed, but it was rare and complicated. If a man couldn't provide, if a woman couldn't bear children, if either showed cowardice, the pairing could be dissolved. But the community had to agree because every broken pairing made the tribe weaker. The most successful pairings were often arranged by elders who could see genetic and social advantages that young people missed. Love might grow, but survival came first. When tribes met, it could mean trade, alliance, or war.
Indeed.
Reading the situation correctly meant the difference between prosperity and annihilation. Tribal encounters followed strict protocols that had evolved over millennia. First contact was always made by a single representative carrying a peaceful token, usually a branch or a stone painted with symbols. This person was considered sacred and couldn't be harmed without bringing a curse on the attacking tribe. The representative would approach slowly, hands visible, weapons lowered. They would announce their tribe's name, their leader's name, and their intentions. This wasn't just courtesy, it was intelligence gathering. How did this tribe present itself? Were they confident or desperate, well-fed or starving, numerous or few? If both tribes wanted peace, negotiations could begin. These were complex affairs involving the exchange of gifts, the sharing of information about water sources and game movements, and sometimes the arrangement of marriages between tribes to cement alliances. But when resources were scarce, conflict was inevitable. Tribal warfare wasn't chaotic violence. It was organized brutality with rules and objectives. The goal wasn't usually to exterminate the enemy, but to drive them away from crucial resources or to demonstrate superior strength. Warriors painted their bodies with clay and charcoal to look more frightening and to identify friend from foe in combat. They carried multiple weapons, spears for distance, clubs for close combat, and stone knives for finishing work. Battle tactics were sophisticated. Tribes would use terrain to their advantage, coordinate attacks with hand signals, and employ psychological warfare through war cries and intimidation displays. The strongest warriors fought in front while archers provided cover from elevated positions. But the deadliest weapon was intelligence. Knowing your enemy's numbers, weapons, and weaknesses could turn a smaller tribe into victors. Scouts would observe enemy camps for days, learning their routines and identifying their leaders. When Kale's tribe encountered the northern people guarding the fruit trees, it became a textbook example of tribal conflict. Both groups were desperate, making compromise impossible. The northerners had superior numbers and defensive positions. Kale's tribe had superior mobility and desperation. The skirmish lasted only minutes but demonstrated how quickly encounters could turn lethal. Stones flew, spears thrust, clubs swung. Men screamed in pain and rage. Blood soaked the earth that both tribes claimed. The retreat wasn't cowardice, it was tactical intelligence. Baru recognized that his people couldn't win a sustained fight, so he ordered withdrawal before losses became catastrophic. But they paid the price. One young life lost for a few pieces of fruit. Inside the tribe, conflicts were handled through a sophisticated system of justice that balanced individual rights with group survival. Minor disputes, arguments over tool ownership, conflicts between children, disagreements about work assignments, were handled by public discussion. The entire tribe would gather while both sides presented their cases. Community pressure usually resolved these issues quickly. Major crimes required formal judgment. Theft, adultery, Cowardice in the face of danger or attacking a fellow tribe member could threaten the group's survival. These cases went before the council with Baru as final judge. The accused had the right to speak in their defense and to call witnesses.
I stand here today
But
to
evidence
speak
was
of his
paramount.
character.
If food was missing and found in someone's shelter, guilt was obvious. If a warrior was seen fleeing while others fought, cowardice was proven. Punishments were calibrated to the crime and the tribe's needs. A first-time thief might lose status and have to perform extra duties. A repeat offender faced banishment. Someone who endangered others through cowardice might be demoted from warrior to gatherer. The death penalty was rare but not unknown. A tribesman who murdered another member, who repeatedly stole during times of scarcity, or who betrayed the tribe to enemies could face execution. This was carried out by the person they had wronged, or if that person was dead, by their closest relative. But justice also included redemption. A warrior who had shown cowardice could regain honor through exceptional courage. A thief could rebuild trust through generous acts. The tribe needed every member, so rehabilitation was always preferred over permanent punishment. The most complex cases involved conflicts between families within the tribe. When two bloodlines disputed resources or status, the entire group's stability was threatened. Baru would have to balance competing claims while maintaining unity. These family feuds could simmer for generations, passed down through bloodlines like genetic traits. The only permanent solutions were either the complete submission of one family to another, or the voluntary departure of one group to form a new tribe. Knowledge was power, and controlling knowledge was the key to leadership. Baru wasn't just old. He was a living library. In his mind were stored thousands of pieces of crucial information, the locations of water sources across hundreds of miles, the seasonal patterns of game animals, the properties of medicinal plants, the genealogies of 5 generations, the stories of past droughts and their solutions. But knowledge had to be passed down, and not everyone could learn everything. The tribe developed a sophisticated system of specialization that ensured crucial information survived even if individuals died. The plant women were botanists and chemists. They knew which roots could sustain life during famine, which berries could cure fever, which bark could be chewed to ease pain. This knowledge was taught through hands-on experience, with mothers training daughters from childhood. The hunters were zoologists and strategists. They understood animal behavior patterns, migration routes, and hunting grounds. They could read tracks like books, determining not just what animal had passed, but how long ago, whether it was healthy or injured, and where it was likely to go next. The toolmakers were engineers and material scientists. They knew which stones made the best cutting edges, how to heat-treat wood for maximum hardness, and how to bind materials together for strength and durability. These skills required years of apprenticeship and countless hours of practice. The storytellers were historians and teachers. They memorized the tribe's oral traditions, keeping alive the lessons learned by previous generations. These weren't just entertainment. They were survival manuals disguised as tales. But the most important knowledge keepers were the weather readers. These individuals could predict storms, droughts, and seasonal changes by observing subtle signs in nature. They watched the behavior of birds, the patterns of clouds, the direction of winds. In a world where weather could mean life or death, these skills were invaluable. Knowledge was also power within the tribe. Someone who possessed unique information, the location of a hidden water source, the weakness of a dangerous predator. The cure for a deadly disease held leverage in tribal politics. But hoarding knowledge was dangerous. If the only person who knew crucial information died, the entire tribe could suffer. So wise leaders ensured that important knowledge was shared among multiple individuals. Kale was being trained not just as a hunter, but as a future knowledge keeper. Baru was teaching him the deep secrets of leadership, how to read people's motivations, how to make decisions when all options were bad, how to maintain authority while remaining fair. The ultimate test of leadership wasn't physical strength or hunting skill. It was the ability to make life and death decisions for 30 people and live with the consequences. The bloodline that started with Kale's tribe eventually spread across the entire planet. Every human alive today carries the genes of those 30 souls who refused to give up when the world was ending. You are their legacy. You are proof that courage wins.
Let us build
The skills they developed, the ability to work together under pressure, to adapt to changing environments, to face impossible odds with intelligence and determination, these are still the foundations of human success
We
today.
share our crafts.
When you face your own modern predators, economic uncertainty, relationship conflicts, career challenges, personal fears, you're drawing on the same courage that helped Kale stand against the Smilodon. When you make difficult decisions, lead others through crisis, or refuse to give up when everything seems hopeless, you're channeling the wisdom of Baru and the determination of 30 desperate souls who chose to fight rather than surrender.
We will outsmart them.
What will you do with that
Our knowledge
inheritance?
is our strength.
How will you honor the sacrifice of those who came
For our
before?
tribe.
What legacy will you leave for those who come after? The story of human survival continues with every choice you make, every challenge you face, every moment you decide to keep fighting when giving up would be easier. Their blood runs in your veins. Their courage lives in your heart. Their legacy is your responsibility.
What would you have done?
Don't let them down. If this story of incredible human survival inspired you, smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because there are countless more stories of courage, intelligence, and the unbreakable human spirit waiting to be told. Share this with someone who needs to remember how strong they really are, and let me know in the comments what modern challenge you're facing that would make Kale proud of your courage.